feel like acting class kind of helps you get more, because you have a pretty chill stage presence.
Exactly.
So.
I don't have much, I don't think, like, dynamic range at all. I got like a fucking... This is why I don't do like restaurant work, because of the running. I have like one pace, you know? But it did allow you to kind of tap into some of that. And one of the like the big takeaways that I got from it was like building backstory for a scene, not necessarily for a character. You do that too, but for a scene. Okay, I'm trying to get this emotion in the scene. How would you get there naturally? What would bring you to feel the feelings that this person might be feeling? So that was like a pretty cool, like, oh, I never thought about it like that.
Like shit from your own life that might, you know, if you're trying to be like fear or anger or whatever, you can think of your own.
You're angry. I remember my acting teacher told me, like, what would like piss you off? He's like, say somebody took your jokes and told them, you know, and then got like deals and got money and got notary from saying your jokes, you know?
Yeah.
So that was like one of the scenarios. I'm like, I guess that would really fucking piss me off.
I've had part of that happen.
Oh, really?
Taking the jokes, not the fame and notoriety.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay. Well,
yeah.
what? Tell us a little bit about that. Can you?
I can. No, it was here. So, you know, I think I know the audience of this podcast, so I don't know.
Nationwide.
Right. So, yeah, no, there was a comic who was telling a joke that I made about him off stage.
Okay.
On stage. And so I heard about it through the grapevine, you know, the Asheville comedy grapevine. And I waited until one night here at the music hall and asked to be put up after that comic. And I told the joke after that comic went up, and I was like, I did that because I wanted you as the audience to have the context of what he looked like and what I looked like, because the joke made no sense without that.
Okay.
And they were not happy. So it was fun.
Yeah, we're not.
That's my. We were talking earlier about beefs. That's my only beef. I've got one beef.
Yeah.
He knows who he is.
Huh.
Well, you know who you are.
It's Blackburn. Of course, it's Blackburn.
He's not going to listen to this.
No. Well, he might search for his name though. So
if you're searching for your fucking name, you deserve.
Bro, that's asking for trouble.
What are you,
absolutely. I started searching for Noble just because I heard you mention it once or twice, and I was like, how many times does it come up? You know,
yeah. So. Cody and I always
never
talk
with
about
my
that.
name, mind you. It's never. Clay runs a great room. It's just Noble's a fun room because it doesn't matter, and I'm like, fair enough. So know that going into
that's
Friday.
nice. I'm glad that I just heard that.
It's not their place to do your act so much as like experiment. It's it's like a longer mic, which I think is great.
Okay, I like that.
Like
all right,
you get
cool.
like 10 to 20 loose. It's gonna be hard, so why not just? It's kind of like the Kava bar. Like I love the Kava bar because it's like don't expect it to be like this mic,
right?
Where it's like you know 50 to 100 people hot. It's just kind of like an opportunity to go along, fuck around.
So the funny thing is, you and other comics have talked about Noble and how it, you know, and you're not being disrespectful, but in its essence, it doesn't matter, and so you can do what you want there.
Yeah.
I don't get that there because I'm hosting it, so it's like I never get to really fuck around too much. Can we cuss?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I know. I've listened to most of them. So I never get that there. So what I have found the most fun that I've been having lately is the late night Dissolver shows that have been out on the patio at Dissolver.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but for some reason I just don't give a damn out there on that patio, and I've been having so much fun. Because
you need one like that. Like
I do.
Yours can be a different one than
because Root Bar is not it. Root Bar. I've never had a good time at Root Bar. Like, I say that there's like what I've found recently is that there's 3 different kinds of fun for me on stage. There's the crowd's going along with me and they're laughing and they're having a good time. That's one kind of fun.
Yeah. It's a good show. That's the first
it's a good
one.
show. Yeah, that's the best kind for sure. And then there's Root Bar is like a different kind where it's like I truly don't give a shit, but I'm not like nobody else is having fun. So
Yeah.
what kind of fun can I have while
Okay, yeah.
bombing? But then the dissolver is like, I'm just going to get weird with it. Like what you talk about at the Odd and at Root Bar. Like I feel like free on that patio, and I'm like, none of you matter to me. And I don't usually feel that. I feel like I usually internalize bombing or not doing well and not getting the crowd laughing. But for some reason, dissolver, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I like it. So
I haven't been to the Dissolver shows yet, but I've been to Dissolver and like seen the crowds that pull up there. I like the crowds. I feel like a lot more of my jokes would fit with them because I feel like they're younger alt crowds.
yeah,
right.
well, sometimes. Yeah,
Sometimes.
the late night shows have been. We've had some boomers.
Okay,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
If you're out late,
yeah,
I
like
would
right.
think, yeah. What are
Should be-
boomers doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't even.
napping.
And my meter may be skewed. They may just be like older Gen Xers, not quite boomers, but like
Could be.
some older people that have not wanted to fuck with me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I don't know, but I mean, I think that's any show in Asheville. You're going to have hit or miss crowds.
Absolutely.
Probably any show anywhere, but
Yeah.
especially here in Asheville.
Especially at like the level we're at, because that's like this podcast is about this level of comedy. It's not about having a big audience.
Yeah.
Touring
Go
nationally,
on. What level? Tell us in detail what level are we at?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting booked on shows.
Right.
We're having a
Yeah.
great time, but like,
Okay.
it's never like I never go out and people have come to see me. It's never
Yeah.
that. So it's always kind of like just trying to get them on board.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like I'm getting Burger King money. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm just about that level.
Like
you're
getting enough money from a show to get Burger King afterwards.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can live off.
I was just
Burger
making
King,
sure. Like I didn't know
for at
if
least
you
a couple months.
like minimum wage.
Yeah, no,
however
not
many
like
hours one
I'm the
works at Burger
franchise
King.
owner.
Okay. Well, yeah.
No.
I have a joke about how
Burger King.
my wife's happy now that comedy's paying the bills.
Yeah.
She just wishes the bills were rent instead of Hulu.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at too. Like it's Hulu money.
$14.75. I got you, girl.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually gonna.
I like that you said Burger King too. You don't hear
Yeah.
you don't hear
Go with
Burger
BK,
King.
man. I've had this thing.
Do you like
with-
BK? Is that
So
like you like going there?
I don't like
You just like the idea
particularly
of it.
going there. I've just had this weird thing with Burger King on Tunnel Road. I've went there twice now through the drive-through, and they've just been like, "We're sorry, nobody's here to serve you."
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was the end of the fucking drive-through conversation. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I went to McDonald's.
Yeah, I've had that
And
at
it's probably
Popeyes a few times,
pre-recorded, too, right?
It's like, why are you guys open?
Where?
Yeah,
Like,
what
why Popeyes down by the airport? I had
mean,
two experiences there where they're like, we don't have any food.
Oh,
But there's still somebody like telling you that, it's like they're
So
you want something to drink?
I feel like that's to be expected from Popeyes.
Yeah.
And I like no racial connotations assigned by me, but
Wasn't even
there's-
going there.
No, I know, but I'm thinking it because like all the Popeyes that I went to in Atlanta before I moved here were in a certain area in Atlanta
Gotcha.
typically.
Atlanta knows its audience.
I don't mean that. I just mean that like Popeyes has always not given a fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
Do
I
you
think
know,
Burger
like-
King too. Like it's like
Yeah, too.
even as a kid, like in the '80s, like Burger King was like dirty. It was like
Yeah.
broken. It was bad. It's like, but
Yeah.
they've still managed to be like Pep. Like they just like
Well,
the Pepsi. Is,
Hardee's too. Like
but they're still like it's still.
Pepsi
Yeah.
had me fooled for a
Locations.
little while. I was like, it's Pepsi all day, every day. I think it was the commercials, honestly.
Yeah.
That
I think
girl.
Pepsi's doing all right. Like better than
Pepsi.
Burger King.
This is a fun fact. Pepsi just went from the number 2 soft drink in the country to the number 3 soft drink in the country.
Bumped by.
Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, I fuck with some Dr. Pepper.
That's my shit.
I thought
Like, I
Dr
don't-
Pepper was Coke. It's not
No, Dr.
not
Pepper
Coke
has always
product?
been its own brand.
Really?
It's
independent artist.
Yeah, so
Dr.
they
Pepper.
well, it used to be
Brave.
7-Up Dr. Pepper. So it was owned by 7-Up, but then 7-Up like I don't know what happened there, but Dr. Pepper is currently owned by Keurig. But what they've always done is they've done an independent bottler model. So Coke may bottle Dr. Pepper in some regions, like I think up in New York, Coke bottles Dr. Pepper, but like a lot of places Pepsi will do it. A lot of places they, it'll be like a beer, like Eagle Rock, who does Budweiser and shit like that. They'll bottle Dr. Pepper. So Dr. Pepper is its own thing, and they get whoever bottles drinks in that region to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's why, like, if you travel, like, because I've done, for work, I've done cross country trips, and this is probably sadder than anything, but I've noticed as I get from Atlanta out to Oklahoma and then Nevada, then whatever, the bottle changes too. Like it's not like Coca-Cola has that iconic bottle. You're never going to see Coca-Cola in a weird bottle.
It's gonna be that slender
Dr.
neck.
Pepper, sometimes it changes as you go across the country.
What they can get.
Whatever the bottler
Dr. Pepper's
has.
like, put us in whatever the fuck.
We don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Bro. Get me out there.
But Oklahoma and Texas, big Dr. Pepper country. Like it's big out there because it started in Plano, Texas. So.
Is it the same as Cheerwine? Is Cheerwine coming?
No, Cheerwine.
Isn't it kind of no?
I've only heard of that.
As far as like their model, how they do it,
just
or
the taste of it. Like
it's
Pepsi
similar.
is like a clone of Coke.
Right.
It's kind of like
Cheerwine is
a cherry-ish.
Cheerwine is cherry, but Dr. Pepper is the spiced cherry, whereas Cheerwine feels like just a mixture of cola and cherry, but not in a cherry cola kind of way. It's I don't know. Cheerwine's its own thing, and I love Cheerwine too. But
Cheerwine's great.
When they say spiced, what do they mean?
there's
what
23 different flavors.
But what kind of spices and
Like
flavor?
pep-
Like,
like
are you
pepper?
putting thyme in Dr. Like, what goes
don't
into
know.
Dr. Pepper that they're like 23 spices?
Okay, so but if you think about this, like, I don't drink diet drinks often, like, but if you think about the diet versions of drinks, Diet Dr. Pepper works the best because it doesn't rely on the sweetness; it relies on those
Spice.
The
spices, the 23 flavor, the 23. Yeah,
herbs and
I think there's an yeast in
23,
there
is that
somewhere.
a real thing? I never
Yeah,
heard that.
yeah.
23
It had it on a
flavors.
can for a long.
Cherry is one of
time.
them.
23, that's a lot of spices.
I know a lot about
Yeah, it's
Dr.
like,
Pepper.
What the fuck? Like, what are you
Way
reaching
more.
for and putting in the?
Yeah.
Like Tabasco, I think
You know how
has
many?
just one.
You know how many there's in Sprite? It's 2. It's lemon and lime. That's all you got.
Those are
Dr. Pepper's got
spices.
23 there out
Lemon
there.
is spice. I guess.
No,
lemon
just, it's 23 flavors. It's not
Okay,
specifically
okay.
23 spices, but a lot of those flavors are spices. I know one of them's cherry, but who is it that? It's Ryan. No, who is it that has the joke about how they can't smoke weed because they just get trapped on the concept of Dr. Pepper for 3 hours? Is it Jess Cooley?
Gordon.
No, it's not Ryan Gordon, is it?
Sounds like it could be Jess.
I think it's
maybe.
Jess Cooley.
Yes,
I think
it
it's
is
Jess Cooley.
Sorry,
yeah.
it is Jess
We
Cooley.
just
You're
did
absolutely
that
right.
for except not for 3 hours, for
No, I thought it. Yeah.
7 minutes. We just got
Yeah,
trapped
we got stuck on the concept.
of-
Well,
shout out
like a
Jess Cooley.
Seinfeld
now that
moment,
should
like-
make sense, really.
I'll talk Dr. Pepper for 3 hours. Don't push me.
Push. It would be the longest podcast you've ever
I
had.
think we probably covered it.
Yeah. No. I'm saying I will if prompted and allowed.
Yeah. I don't know. Should we talk about comedy a little bit?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. That's probably comedy. And
So I'm curious. How long have you been doing it?
So I did comedy like 3 times when I lived in San Diego. Like maybe 6 or 7. Well, actually 8 years ago. About right.
And how old are you, or how old were you at that time? I guess I can do
At the
my own
time, well, at the time I was about like probably like 26ish, 25 or something like that when I first tried comedy.
Okay.
Right now I'm no, it's got to be earlier than that. Let's say 23. Right now,
Do that math right now.
so right now, all right. So like I started when I was 23. Right now I am 31.
If you had gun to my head, told me to guess, I would have guessed probably younger than 23 right now.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did it out there at the Madhouse Comedy Club in Horton Plaza.
Are we shouting them out, or?
Yeah, shout out to
Okay,
Madhouse.
I didn't-
Loved him. Nothing but great to me. The fucking 3 times I went up there. And then I stopped for a long time, many years, probably like 7 or 6 years. I moved to Colorado, did the snowboard bum thing. Worked at a mountain, learned to snowboard, which I love. It's awesome. It's very fun. did comedy maybe once or twice out there. There was like some girl put on an open mic, and like literally
like
once.
at a ski lodge or something?
No.
Okay.
This one was at a bar, like a local dive bar. So I did that once, and then I did it again for a friend's wedding because she knew she didn't have to pay me. So and I was going to go to her wedding anyway. So I flew out to New York, upstate New York, where kind of like I'm originally from, and did her wedding. And
just one person did comedy in the midst of a wedding.
Yep.
Did it go? That's a good crowd though, right? People are like in good spirits. They're not like. I bet it was good.
Yeah, it was a good crowd, and like
it's a home team.
Yeah,
situation.
everybody knew her, so I could get super specific with the jokes.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? And she's got like a bunch of interesting caveats about her that I was able to make fun of and just poke fun at, whatever. But yeah, and then I moved here with the intention from Vail, Colorado, with the intention of getting more into stand-up and being in a busier place than Vail, Colorado, because it's like awesome. It's a beautiful place, but there's nothing going on there. It's a mountain town.
Outdoorsy shit.
Outdoorsy shit. I couldn't go and do stand-up, as often as I do now. So yeah. And that's when I came.
That's interesting that you did it like just a little bit, but it was like in different geographical areas.
Yeah.
That's a common pattern on this podcast when people talk about their journey, that they did it like a little bit and then took time off and then thought about it for years and then came back and started doing it more seriously.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Let those ideas marinate.
Yeah.
Did you choose Asheville because of a comedy scene, or just choose Asheville and hope there was a scene here?
Basically, choose Asheville, hope there is a scene. Knew there was going to be more of a scene than what I did.
Okay.
But chose Asheville because it's East Coast. It's busy. It's not huge. And all of myself, and my girlfriend's family are all on the East Coast.
Okay.
So I'm like, let me go back home. It's been like 10 plus years.
Gotcha.
I should probably go visit some people. And yeah, so that's why we decided to come back to this side. And that was, I think, a great decision. I love like the comedy scene here. It's easy to break into. It's not like competitive and cutthroat, like San Diego's a little harder. You had to like
a little bit.
San Diego was like,
you want a little bit of it. It's got to be a little, where it's like, what are we doing here?
Right. But it's like you will get some time, as opposed to you might get some time.
Yeah.
So I was happy about
even
that.
like Atlanta or something, just trying to like break in there is like you go travel there, they don't give a fuck. Like it's just.
When I found out Dante moved to Atlanta, I was like, but why?
Yeah.
Like, why would you go from getting stage time here to fighting, like knife fighting for stage time in Atlanta? Because that's where I started, was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I started November of 2019. So, like, just a few months before the pandemic. I can't do the math right now. But,
damn.
So, like, went and did a mic at the Laughing Skull because I didn't know that there were other shittier mics that you should do first.
First time?
First time was at the Laughing Skull.
Oh, wow.
And the first time, this is a fun podcast story. I may have told you at some point, but the first night I ever did stand-up, I found out that I was third. I was going up third. And so the show was starting in 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette and try and calm my nerves. And I was walking through the little hallway there at the Laughing Skull, and this big dude just shoves me against the wall. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I look up, and he, like, is standing there, and then Chris Tucker walks past me. And I was like, oh, shit. And so Chris Tucker starts laughing because I'm like, oh, shit. And then he walks past us, and I'm like, fuck, Chris Tucker's going to go up after us? And they're like, no.
Oh, no. You're not going up.
No, you idiot.
You're going to follow him your first time ever doing stand-up.
And one of the comics, so Chris Tucker went up for 45 minutes, and one of the comics dropped out. So I was now going up second after Chris Tucker, and I'm terrified, and I'm like, this is gonna be awful. And then I got up on stage for the first time and found out that Chris Tucker got that crowd real warm. And so
they were ready
I
to
did
laugh.
way better my first open mic than I ever should have.
Oh, hell yeah.
You could just ride it. You could surf it.
I had
That's
no
cool.
business doing that well. If I go back, I still have the video from my first time, and I'm like, ugh. Like, there's one joke that I tried to tell that I'm like, I sound like Donald Trump, like stumbling my way through it. Like, it's just, it's cringy, and I'm super self-conscious about it. But the crowd was hot, and so they didn't care, and I mentioned Chris Tucker because he went up and he was like, it's hot as a motherfucker in here, and I went up and I was like, Chris Tucker's right, it is hot up here, and I took my jacket off. I wasn't even trying to make a joke, like I was just like, I gotta take my jacket off, I should say something about it.
Yeah.
And
Just drop his name in.
That's hilarious. There.
Chris Tucker was just here. Everybody's like,
Yeah, they're like, I remember that, I was there. So I got a picture with him, and then the comic that went up right after me was the first but not the last comic of the night to mention that Chris Tucker was in the Epstein flight logs, and I was like, oh, okay,
Of course.
all right, yeah. It was like, oh, this took a turn.
Yeah, wasn't that guy in the...
Yeah, he's like, because he went up like right after me, and he's like, I'm at least the second comic you've seen tonight who hasn't been on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. And I was like, oh. So, but yeah, so I did that. And then the way it works at Laughing Skull is you sign up, and then after that mic that you signed up for, you can sign up for the next one. So I signed up for the next one, and it wasn't till January. And so middle of January. So beginning of January, I was like, okay, I should probably start doing this, find some other mics to go to and start practicing. And that's when I realized, oh, you got to do this often. You can't just do this every now and then. And so I really started hitting the ground running in January of 2020. And then COVID shut everything down. And there were a couple of outdoor mics because I wasn't comfortable being inside places, and because I'm fat and smoke.
Yeah,
so
you
I
still
thought
like
COVID was
Dissolver
gonna
the
take
most.
me
You like
out.
those outside
patio. It's that
I mean,
patio
it's good to
thing.
know what you're.
Yeah.
If you can thrive in an environment where other people don't, that's good.
Oh, I did not thrive at the outdoor mics during COVID. I did terribly, but
Did you do
but
the
I kept
odd when
doing
it was
it.
outside? The odd was
Yeah,
outside.
when
for
I
a
first
while.
moved here, it was
Yeah,
still
That was
outside,
so
so.
bad. It was just shouting
Yeah.
your jokes into the void of the.
Did y'all have a microphone? Or?
There was a microphone, but it was just scatter, the laughs would just go up in the sky. It was so bad, so bad.
But when the odd moved back inside is when I stopped going to the odd.
Yeah.
Not that I'm I don't have an aversion to being inside anymore. I did during the pandemic, obviously, but when it moved inside, I was like,
Yeah,
I don't like this vibe. I like the vibe outside. So yeah, maybe I do.
got your
Just,
handkerchief inside, just
outdoor. Yeah, I'm doing I was telling Petey I'm going full Black Pastor mode. It's summer. I gotta have a towel with me.
That's a good time buyer, real quick. You know.
Yeah.
yeah. It's like a sip off the
Yeah.
drink. It's the thing that
Yeah.
you can be
little
like.
forehead dab.
No, it's a necessity, is what it is. It's not a stall tactic. It's-
They don't know
I'm
that.
sweating my ass off.
I know when I first came here.
When did you move here?
So I moved here last year in around this time last year. I've been here a little more than a year, like a year and 3 months, something like that.
Gotcha.
And you were good from the get go too. I remember just your first sets here.
Well, thank
you
you,
seemed very
sir.
comfortable.
I appreciate
I was
that.
like, another dude sitting down on the stool. Nice.
Yeah. So
Is that
like,
during your 1,000 sitting down sets?
Yeah, I need to get back on the stool.
No,
I think
yeah,
I
I
love the
was-
stool.
literally.
Do you
just
still
thinking
do
that
it?
before I came
Yeah.
here.
Do you still sit on the
No,
stool?
I
I'm gonna
haven't.
sit down tonight,
I kind
probably.
of forgot about it,
Yeah.
right? And I got some advice, right? Because moving here was the first time I ever had what I consider to be mentors in comedy. You know what I'm saying? That's
Name
something
names.
I've always seeked, or wanted to have, but you just don't
Right.
But Pete was like, next time you should save the sit down for when you got something that you got to explain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's that's good. It's brings them in when you
Yeah.
sit down.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was going there and just sitting down off rip, and
Right.
sometimes it would work, but sometimes it wouldn't.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
transition's like a useful tool.
And I was like,
Yeah.
ooh. So I did the transition. It worked. And then I think like somewhere though, I just kind of forgot about sitting down altogether. And I just started doing my sets and like it just left my mind. But literally before I came here, I was thinking about when I saw you and I was like, oh, he sits down. That's fucking dope. I love like that style. He just sits down, starts telling you the story, and he's like got people laughing. He's got people. And I'm like, that's what I want to do for sure. Like I want to be able to do that.
It helps me relax. It's like I'm not Hillary. I'm not gonna be able to like
I
do
don't
that. So like why not just try to go the other direction? You know, try to be like sitting down.
I like that Hillary impression.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed that I'm not Hillary, but
Yeah.
you know Jim Jeffries, that Australian comedian. He'll
Yeah.
he'll have like a chair like this on stage sometimes, and he'll like during his hour he'll sit down and stand up, and he uses that transition to be like, now he's gonna say something sitting down, but then he'll like leap up out of the chair to like make a point and then sit back down, and it's like I think it's really you don't notice it, but it's like it enhances the jokes.
I have tried things like that, like sitting on the stool, smoking a cigarette when I'm outdoors. Things that, I mean, you can look at me and know that I'm comfortable sitting down. Things that I'm comfortable doing, smoking a cigarette, sitting down. For some reason, when I do them on stage while trying to tell jokes, it doesn't work. Like, it throws me off. Every time I've sat down during a set, it has just shifted the energy in a bad way.
People
Every
just
time
get
I've
their
smoked
phone
a
like you
cigarette-
sit down and people
No,
just bring
it's my energy.
Oh.
It's shifted my energy, and I'm like, it ruins it.
Like
So,
maybe you don't feel like you're performing as much, like it's too relaxed.
I don't know.
Because I feel like I can be kind of
about
an
it.
anxious guy, so sitting down kind of helps me
very
like
anxious.
rein it in.
Maybe you're too
Yeah.
conscious of it. Like it's like a, and that's got your mind not
I
where
don't know,
it's
but I'm
supposed
trying
to
to
be.
just like relax and get in the zone. Maybe if I was doing like a 30-minute set, and what you're saying, I could sit down during part of it.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, I need to start
don't
doing
know.
that. I forgot about it too. Just exactly what you said is
Yeah.
true. I kind of forgot that tool was working, and people would be like, "I like it when you sit down."
Yeah.
and then I just kind of stopped. I
do
don't know
people
why.
come up to you and say that? Like,
People have said that.
Okay.
Yeah, people have been like Petey has said, like, you do the thing that I always hate when everybody does it. You sit down and people lean in, and it works for you. So
I
if Petey
love-
says anything, I'll be like, all right, then
Yeah, same.
I-
I was
maybe
like,
I'll keep.
this is my mentor.
I love Petey's advice.
Yeah.
If Petey could follow his own advice, Petey wouldn't be here anymore. He'd be gone.
Why don't you sit down?
Yeah, like
He searches his name too.
he
by
told
the
me
way.
to do a black
Petey,
scent
Petey,
one
Petey.
time.
Oh God, I can't do it.
What?
He
told
told
you
me
what?
to do a black
That does
scent
not
on
sound
some
like
joke.
something that.
I swear to God, I was like, Petey, I am not going to do that. And he's like, no, you should do that. And I'm like, I think you're trying to get me canceled.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the
I
joke
would
was,
think
but I'm
that-
like, I'm not going to do that, Petey. He's like, nah, do a black scent. He said that
Trust
word too.
me.
Like, not going to do it, Petey. But yeah,
He's like, do a
Petey's
black
advice
scent.
is,
I need something to make fun of later.
that's probably what it was.
How can I
I'm going to
get
record
Clay
it. You
canceled?
go ahead and do it. Yeah, no, I didn't do it. That's the only Petey advice that I've
You're
just
like,
thrown directly out.
I'm not comfortable in that space. So.
Definitely not.
Yeah, it's interesting though, just like trying to be conscious about bringing things like that into your comedy, like finding a lane versus like constantly trying to break out of your lane and try new stuff. I'm always like trying to figure out how much. You guys have thoughts on that? Like, you got something that's working. Sitting down is working, so maybe I should just sit down all the time versus like maybe I need to do the opposite of that. I need to just like yell in a bit or like do some act outs.
I do have thoughts like that, and I'm like, I think that is for me at this point because I feel like I don't really have much stage time, actually, compared to a lot of the other people who I know around here. I feel like that's something that for me is going to come with like just being more comfortable and being up there more often until it's like second home type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I notice like I act differently when I'm talking to strangers versus when I'm like in my game chat with my buddies, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I like watch my tongue more when I'm like hanging out with strangers because I don't want to offend anybody overall, Stage I'm a little looser because it's like it's stage time. It's whatever you say there doesn't really count how it counts in real life,
Yeah.
but it can. So I've noticed like I've been thinking about that, but then at the end of the day, I don't do that. I don't change anything up. I kind of get out there and I do the same thing, what I'm comfortable with, or like act how I'm comfortable acting, But I have to be more conscious of that.
Yeah, you can only bring in many new things at a time too. Because if you go up with if I'm trying to do 3 new things, then I'm just in my head about it too. So it's
I've definitely had that.
The goal is to be relaxed and be yourself and find your voice, but then you're also trying to think I want to try some new shit and stuff. It's a weird balancing act.
Yeah,
and some days I'm just more confident than other days too.
Exactly.
I'm to the same mic 4 times in a row, and it's just what kind of day has it been before the mic?
Exactly. Yeah.
The most recent thing like that I've tried is the index cards that I've been doing.
Yeah.
And I was I was really on the fence about it because I wanted to do it because I wanted to have something to interact with. I had already, before I wrote the first joke on an index card, I had already thought, if I tell a joke and it doesn't bomb, I can crumple it up and throw it away, and that might get a laugh.
Yeah, that could be a punchline.
I think Chris Rock did that at one point in time. I heard a story, I never saw him do it, but I heard a story about him. They were he would get up there with the cards and just that didn't work, throw it. So I think that's definitely good.
I didn't know that. I've never heard that about Chris Rock. So now I feel like a hack. I've stolen something from
You're
Chris
not a
Rock.
hack, and I'm sure Chris Rock isn't the only person who's done it.
No,
it's okay to steal from Chris Rock. That's a good idea.
Well, he's great. So.
But
you're doing the preacher thing now with the thing,
just need $5 more. I was on the fence about it because I thought about it and I was maybe it'll give the audience time to loosen up, and maybe it'll give me time to loosen up. And John Michael Bond was here, and I was texting him before the show, and I was like, "Yeah, I have this new thing that I want to try, but I think I should try it at a mic." And he was like, "Try it on the Late Show," and I was like, "All right." So I tried it, and I've been doing it ever since. Yeah, the index cards, and it's been great. People like it.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. It's just different than what I saw you doing before. I think it's always good to have a new.
Well, but and I don't do it the whole time. It's the first couple minutes, and then I go into the I shift gears completely. And it's weird, but I've had a couple people come up and say they like how I shift gears and go from the cards to.
It's like sitting down and shifting gears. It's if it's 20 minutes of just seeing me stand there and talk, you just do something different. I think it kind of signals to people that there's a change.
Yeah. So that's the newest thing that
especially if you're doing the same rooms in town. I think it makes sense to experiment more. We were talking about Clay's show, Crisp, Noble, and the
last
first time
Friday of every month.
The first time I do a room like that or Kava, I would just kind of do my my act or jokes that have worked before. But then if you're back for the 5th or 6th time, then it's well, it makes no sense to come here and keep doing that. So that's probably why we're talking about it in a way where it's it's loose and it doesn't matter. It's because after you've done a room, after you've done Catawba or Kava bar or whatever, Root Bar so many times, then you start trying to fuck around with it more. You're more comfortable there. So that's what I like about going back to rooms. It's they matter less, but they also matter more.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Because you could find something new here. You could discover some gold.
Yeah.
I've done so much Catawba stage time.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been there more than I've been anywhere
else.
Oh,
sure, yeah. Every time I'm there, you're there. I mean, it's such a hard room for comedy.
It is. We've talked about you've talked about the fan.
The fan clicks on right when you're getting them.
It's the best. It's the best.
In the middle of a story.
First of all, okay, that does remind me. Can I go on a different route? You've mentioned that it's the fans clicking on. It's not the fans. It's the cooler. It's the walk-in in the room that clicks on. It's the worst. And when you're doing a long set there, it'll be on when you get up on stage and you're talking over it, and then it'll cut off.
Yeah.
And you're okay, cool, I can get comfortable. And then it clicks back on right as you're getting into your clothes. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
what drives me crazy about that is the audience. I don't think they know.
They don't.
They just know that all of a sudden it's I don't like this fucking guy as much.
What's happening?
But it's because it's harder to hear.
He's yelling at
us.
So
it just seems like you got bad.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like when somebody starts making a drink at the bar or something. Or it's the espresso machine. You're just fuck.
It's in the Matrix. There's a tone in the movie The Matrix that they used where they took a pencil eraser and just ran it around a big 20-inch crash cymbal, and it makes this really high-pitched noise. And if you go through and watch The Matrix with headphones on, you might notice it, but you probably won't, even though I've seen it 100 times. It's this
subtle
tone that they do, and they just
subconscious.
pipe it in to make you feel tense.
Yeah.
That's what the walk-in
exactly.
does. It's like they don't even know it. They're like, this guy started yelling at us, and I feel uncomfortable for some reason.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I hate it too. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about, so like a month or two ago, you did Noble, and it was that night that everybody showed up because we had, there was a show that got canceled, and so
The
everybody
Atlanta
showed
guys.
up.
Yeah.
A bunch of guys from Atlanta. Cody was there, and a bunch of us were going to do the jorts show afterwards, and so we were all wearing jorts. Are you familiar with jorts?
Are they those?
More
Or those?
more specifically those.
Okay.
But that's what I'm getting at.
They got to
is
be cut off.
It's both.
Yes.
They don't have to be cut off.
I
Jean
was
shorts.
doing that jorts show. The name of the show is jorts.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that show, and I sacrificed my only pair of blue jeans that fit me because I'm a fat son of a bitch right now. I sacrificed them for that show, and so I was wearing cutoff jean shorts, and you were also wearing cutoff jean shorts, and I made fun of you. And so this is my public apology, because after wearing those cutoff jean shorts, I was like, oh shit, I haven't worn jorts in like 10 years. I forgot how comfortable they are.
Oh, yeah.
And so these are new jorts that I've bought since then. And the cutoff ones I made for that show have just gone into regular. I thought that they would only get busted out every, other month when they did jort shows. So I'm sorry. I shamed you publicly at my show for wearing jorts, and then I was like, "Oh shit, they're."
I've been waiting for that for so long.
That's why
I've been furious. I've been
I
sitting at
wanted to
home
do
just
it publicly
seething.
in front of the 13
Wow.
people that watch this podcast.
Cool.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
No problem, dude.
That's why you weren't on earlier. It's like,
yeah, it
wait
makes
for that
sense.
apology.
Yeah.
I've
So
been
many
leaning into the
people been
jorts
on
more. I
before
like
me.
it. I feel like if I wear just like a pair of jeans and a nice shirt, that just makes me even more like the generic white dude. Like it's
Yeah.
almost better to look a little shitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I wear what I wear
Play
to work,
into it.
it's just like that much more of a forgettable
But
archetype.
well, so what I noticed, because you and I have similar vibes,
Yeah.
right, the patterned button-up shirt, and then the cut-off jean shorts.
Yeah.
Well, mine aren't the cutoffs tonight. They're just
Got the liberal glasses.
They're hemmed.
bald head.
It's a little different.
But I noticed when I started wearing that from time to time, I was like, oh, this feels like an Asheville thing. Do you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It feels like, oh, it's normal here.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like that before.
Yeah.
To me. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might see a lot in Colorado too. I feel like that is a Colorado
Yeah.
thing.
Boulder and
Kind of
Asheville
similar,
are
like
very similar.
IPA culture
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dogs.
When I lived up in Vail,
IPA.
Lots of dogs on hikes.
Frisbee golf.
one of our factors in coming here too is there's a lot of go between people who work in Vail, not the people who just live there, but and here a lot of people go back
Yeah,
and forth.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, so that means that the people are probably pretty cool and similar. You know what I'm saying, to what we have here. A lot of accepting people, a lot of cool people,
That's cool. You find Asheville to be that way, like pretty laid back
Yeah,
and accepting.
absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah, I
I've been
love
here
it.
so long. I'm like, is it that way? That's why I moved here.
Yeah.
But then I'm so steeped in it, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
I've been here
it's-
22 years. So
It's
I'm
hard
like,
to see the
I can't even
picture when
see
you're
it.
like,
yeah, it just is.
know?
Yeah.
I've been here just over 3 years, and I'm starting to get jaded.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to. I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh, these tourists.
Yeah.
Ugh, these
Yeah,
locals.
yeah.
The fucking breweries is what it is, man.
Yeah, it is.
But,
it is mostly the breweries.
Yeah, it's interesting though, the thing about the heater or the fridge clicking on.
Yeah.
I mean, I like topics like that because that's kind of what it is at this level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's shit like that. Like you can't even have the room be quiet.
Yeah.
I think those obstacles do make us better.
For
If it
sure.
was,
Like, can you imagine what it would be like to have like the sound always be good and everyone's there for you? Like they already like you.
You'd be relying on hecklers like to make you do
just
something
to mix
different.
it up. Yeah,
right? Just to make
Yeah.
you feel something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just
Say
get
something,
removed
talk some
immediately
shit.
because everybody's like on your side. I mean, it's such a
Yeah.
diff. Like it's not. They call that stand up and they call this stand up, but I don't even think they're the same thing.
Right.
Like this, what they talk about on like the Joe Rogan podcast and what we talk. It's not even the same
Yeah, no, it's a different world.
challenge. It's
Yeah.
so different.
One of my first shows here, I went on like you were hosting, and I went on. I think it might have been my first show here, like second to last.
Yeah.
I think. But they,
I remember afterwards. I was like, "You were awesome. I'm so sorry. I never.
it was
I've
all
never
right.
seen you before."
New name.
It helped. It helped me fill some time because like they started the music downstairs and the drums and shit, and then like
You had a good set too.
Yeah, I came out there and I was, what did I say? I said like, oh, I was gonna, they actually asked me if I wanted to go on earlier, but I said, nah, I'll wait till the music starts and the people leave. Like, that's when but yeah,
So
that
you
was
had
cool.
been
That
here
got
before
me.
and seen that.
No. No, this was my first time there and I'm like, they started fucking music downstairs.
Ugh,
And
yeah,
then, but
that's
at
the
that
worst.
point I was like, well, I'm here. I waited this whole time. There's no not doing it. So, but that worked out in my favor, I think, because I didn't have a lot of time. And I was like, ooh, that saved me. That got me a couple seconds.
Did they do like a lightning round thing where you got less time than? Because that happened to me
Probably.
once or twice
I think
here
you
too.
still got the full.
Yeah, I got
4
me.
minutes
Yeah,
or
I feel like
whatever.
after a certain amount of time, they're like, people are still here. Fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
just
There were-
let 'em-
there
Sometimes
was-
it gets good again at the end. and that was one of those
yeah.
times where it still shows like you can have a great set.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you
it's
just
almost
figure
like
out.
more valuable to do
That-
it.
that's what I thought,
Because I
too.
feel like it starts kind of shaky. Like I get put up early like all the time because I'm like an agreeable dad. So it's like
Right.
I'm almost always just like thrown out there before it's warm, and then it gets good, and then it gets bad. But then at the end, sometimes it gets real good. It gets kind of delirious good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like 2 a.m. at the sleepover good. You know, which
Yeah, you can't
is like
stop
the 13
laughing.
people that it's like I don't know what's happening, but the band's playing and it's
Yeah.
getting weird. And I love it when people do well at the end, like after 10
Yeah.
o'clock. I think that's magical.
For sure. I agree.
Never. No, I've never done well after. Because there were a couple times where I was here and I got put up late, and it was after the band started, and they I think they cut us down to like 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Sometimes if there's
"What? I
a lot of
didn't know
people,
that
yeah.
was happening."
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. If
It's gotten
Carrie's
better
here
now.
and the band's, it's always fun to watch how furious he gets when the band's playing.
yeah, for sure.
God damn it!
Also, a good time to freestyle. Good time to bring that, just talk to people or work on your fucking whatever, That's what I found too.
I don't do that yet.
Yeah.
No.
I'm still. I'm gonna tackle that. Start trying to tackle that next year is my plan.
See, that's what's like crisp, Clay's show. Like that's the one that's like I think that's a great place to do that. Just kind of
Yeah.
mess around, like do a bit and then just mess around for as long as you can. Because like if you only have 4 minutes, there's not enough time to do much of that.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah,
if you have
for
like
sure.
a loose 15 or a loose 20, then you can get into that.
Right.
That's what I like about Root Bar too. Is you'll usually get a little more time, so you can talk to those like scary
Okay.
folks at the bar.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something, but then completely blanked.
I'm just
all right.
sorry. I don't. My wife had her wisdom teeth removed.
She's like laid
Today.
up. Huh? They gave her some good drugs.
I told her that when did you ask us to do this? Like a month and a half ago.
A while
right?
back, man.
I think it was still
I booked
May.
things far out.
when you
Yeah,
asked
I'm
us.
booking for like September now.
Yeah,
so it's crazy.
I had this on the calendar, and she's like, "Well,
And she had the nerve to get her wisdom
I was like,
teeth
"This is."
removed when
Do you
we're
know
doing
how
this.
many? Do you know how
deal.
many people
Ah, yeah,
listen to
bro.
this podcast?
Yeah.
So no, but I wanted to double check and make sure I didn't have texts from my kids saying that
Yeah.
mom passed out again. That kind of thing.
Yeah, you definitely need to keep up with that for sure.
Not really.
He's like,
She's not going to listen to it. I mean, there's no way.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not going to listen to your spouse on a podcast. My wife's never listened to an episode.
No, I couldn't.
Including the episode she was on.
she's been on episodes, right?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to listen. Like Ben Gibson was just saying, like he tried to listen to his episode and he couldn't because he felt it was too weird. So you don't have to listen to this. You don't have to act like you did. Like it's fine. It's just I've been on podcasts and I've been like, I'm not ever listening to that shit.
He mispronounced Algernon so many times.
Flowers for what he
Algernon.
say?
Algernon. He was talking about flowers for
Yeah.
Algernon.
What do you say?
Of course. I don't know why I felt the need to
How
clarify
did he
that.
say it? I think
He said Algernon like 18
really?
times, and that's the planet in
Algernon.
Star Wars. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's the
he-
black guy,
So
Algernon.
fuck you, Ben Gibson. Yeah, he said Algernon.
Algernon.
And then you...
Algernon.
No, it's
Algernon.
Algernon. Alderaan is the planet.
Alderaan.
Yeah, that was...
And
But
Yeah.
he said Algernon
Was the Cloud
instead of
City guy's name?
Algernon. The what?
what's the guy's name from Cloud City?
Lando?
Yeah,
Calrissian?
Lando. There it is. Yeah.
Do you know that I have seen all of the Star Wars movies 0.75 times?
I think that's fine.
Like,
I think
I've never
that
seen
means
all
like
of
you've
them.
seen most of
I've seen
every
some of
Star
them.
Wars
Yeah,
movie.
not even all of,
Like-
not even all of
Yeah,
them.
just
Yeah.
most
And
of them.
none of them more than once.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That's fine.
but I still like it's such a part of culture that it's seeped into my brain, and it's not fair. Like,
Same with Lord of
Lando's fine because that's Billy Ray or Billy D.
Yeah, that's like what's the
but
fantasy one that like I've never seen the one. What's the dragon? The fucking
Game of Thrones?
Yeah, like I've
Yeah.
never seen that.
I will
but
go
I
to
feel
my
like I
grave
still kind of know it.
having
I
never
read those
seen an
books.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Harry
fuck-
Potter, same. I don't know how it ends.
Fucking
I don't need to. I
I don't
Lord
like
of the
fantasy
Rings.
Guess
stuff.
how it ends.
I don't like sci-fi. I don't like fantasy.
Oh, I love sci-fi. That's my
Yeah,
shit.
I like sci-fi is my favorite.
Lord of the
What's good.
Rings.
Yeah.
20. I watched. Okay, so if you
The
all
extended
the
cuts?
extended cuts,
Yeah.
it's 24 hours of footage.
Is it
if you
that
add
long?
up all
God.
the
Real?
and not
Wait, are
including
you
the
including
Amazon.
the Hobbit ones?
Yes.
The Hobbit
yes,
movies,
I'm
but
including
not
all the
the
Hobbit
Hobbit
movies.
series. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
and not including any series. All of the video footage. I believe it is like 22 or 23 hours of footage.
Yeah.
There's not a single black person in all of that.
Oh,
Really?
in all that
That is
23
not where
hours
I
of
was
footage.
going. That
There is not a
yeah,
single. I'm
that-
like,
no,
black
that-
people want to do magic too, bro. Like, include us. That's why
Wild.
I'm like, I haven't seen the Amazon series yet, but I'm like, they got some light skins in there. It's a start. You
I'm
know?
going to do a little bit of virtue signaling here and say that's why I've never finished the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That sounds.
Hasn't-
Have you tried that as a bit? My people want to do magic.
I,
too?
Yeah, that's
you know,
on it.
I'm working
Yeah.
on
Good
it.
jumping off point. Like that could go a lot of places.
Yeah.
You know. You can
Yeah.
get some
I'm
minutes
working
out of
on
that.
it. I'm like, that is something that I have as a possibility in the future.
And
for
the
sure.
conflict that you still like must like it. Because
Yeah, I still
Yeah,
watch it
so
all.
So you're still
You know how long
it's
it
like
is.
you like it a lot, and it's that.
Yeah,
it's
I'm like,
that's
this
kind
is
of the
so
interesting
good.
tension.
If I just had some representation in here, like
Yeah.
that would be even better. Other than the fucking orcs, the evil mother, like
yeah.
that are literally black.
yeah. I just didn't like it. I'm not arguing. I just hated it.
I don't feel like
when you
any
said it
movie
out
should be
loud.
longer than 90 minutes. Like even like the new Star Wars,
Yeah.
the last 3. Like I remember just being like, well, I gotta watch them.
You can wrap that up.
And
in
it's just
90.
like you're in the theater. It's like over 2 hours. You're like, can we just like? I just need to cross this off my list. It's like a to-do list thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not enjoying sitting through these long sci-fi battle movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a very focused conversation.
Yeah, it is.
a bunch
I
of
was
sci-fi
tr-
nerds sitting together.
I'm trying
I
to
like
run
it.
my
I like
brain
it.
thinking of black magicians right now. That's what I'm doing over here in my corner.
David Blaine. What is he?
He's something.
He's something.
He's not nothing.
Tan. He's a tan
But
magician.
yeah, no, he's probably like if I
How
had
do
to
we get
guess,
to
he's probably like
magician? I guess it's
well, because he said black people want to do magic too.
okay. Yeah, all right.
And I know
yeah,
that
all
he
right.
meant
It
like
was there.
actual
Yeah,
magic
yeah.
and not illusions. But I was trying to think if there have been any famous
Yeah.
black magicians in like the real world, not Tolkien's world.
I'm gonna go
I got
ahead and
nobody.
claim David Blaine, but I don't know yet. But I'm gonna just throw that out there and be like,
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
You guys ever dabble in magic? It's kind of like the original comedy.
I love
Original
it, but no, I've never dabbled.
sleight
in
of
it.
hand things. I
I
learned
appreciate
this.
it,
yeah.
but I don't. I've never tried it.
I learned this card trick that was like, it's basically like a counting card tricks. You put out like 1, 2, 3, and then you keep going down the rows, but you have 21 cards. You tell someone, pick a card, don't tell me. You put it in the row, you say, tell me what row it's in. And then they tell you the row, you
Yeah.
put the row back.
I know this one.
Yeah.
You make those little 4 things at the end. The little like.
Yeah, well,
Got
you
it.
can do that at the end, or you could just fucking throw the cards out in a pile, but you know which card
Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
and you make it look like you swish that shit up, and you're like, "Is this your card?"
Yeah.
and then it's
Yeah.
their fucking card if you didn't lose sight of it.
Yeah.
That's
a great
the only
trick.
magic trick I know, though, and it's like some math trick that I don't even know how it works, but I just know how to do it. That's it.
Yeah, it's like process of elimination. Something.
I know that thing where you
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it for the camera and still hold the mic.
You
But
gotta-
I think
don't
stand-up's kind of like magic just with words. I feel like it's the same principle. It's just
know. That's why the
surprise.
best
Yeah.
magicians are funny.
It used to be like now people are just more cerebral, so you can just do it with words. Like,
Right.
it's kind of
Yeah.
the same trick, set up.
Yeah, I've
Knock
never
it down.
been a Penn and or I've never been a David Blaine fan, but I've always loved Penn and Teller.
Okay.
Like comedy magic, The Amazing Jonathan was a huge influence on me growing up. Like, are you familiar with The Amazing
I've
Jonathan?
heard the name, but I don't think I've ever seen.
It's
but that sounds familiar.
not magic, but it's magic. Like it's absurd. Like he has his assistant come out to do a trick with him, and he ends up like stapling something to her head. Like it's just like this violent, subversive comedy magic, and so that always spoke to me. Penn and Teller. There's a guy named Matt King who's like, I think he's got a residency in Vegas, but I saw him. I was doing like a work gig, and he was hosting this thing. And I was like, this guy's great, but it's got to be comedy magic for me to get on board. Like, I like it.
Did you guys grow up with stand-up? Did you have like first shit albums or?
I did not possess any albums because I was in the age of the YouTubes, so I
Yeah.
could just access that.
You grew up. Wait, you grew up with you. How old were you when YouTube started in 2006? So how old would you have been in 2006?
Did it really? 2006?
Yeah, that's when YouTube was founded.
What were people watching videos on before that?
Just this thing called the television.
I mean, well, yeah. Duh.
On demand.
But you had the internet.
Comcast.
But yeah, so I had dial-up, and
Okay.
I had YouTube that I had to wait like half hour for, like to make a video load. You know?
But even like Netflix, I don't think Netflix started streaming until 2006 or 2007.
Really?
So it was all like terrestrial television.
But I never,
before
yeah.
that.
So maybe Comedy Central, probably
Okay,
when
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah,
still
yeah.
a thing too.
Okay.
But
Still a thing. Don't say it like that.
is it?
Dude, when I meet a comic who has like even to this day, when I meet a comic who has a Comedy Central credit, I'm jealous more of that than like somebody's Amazon Prime credit. Like I don't like Comedy Central was such a big part of my childhood that like I'd
that was the
rather
brand
have that credit than a
Yeah,
Netflix credit in some ways.
In the childhood, yes, I can see that for sure. Now, so much though. I'm
Yeah,
like,
but it's still like I don't know.
I mean, I don't have television though. I got
Yeah.
like streaming services.
Yeah, I don't have it either.
But so I guess probably Comedy Central Presents. They had like a little half-hour blocks.
So which ones were memorable? Which ones do you remember?
For me, in that, Kirk Fox was one of the first people I'd ever seen. Like he's got some bit roles in movies. He was in like Waiting.
Yeah, I know who
or
you're
some
talking
shit.
about. Yeah.
I thought he was fucking hilarious. Obviously, Chappelle. Love Chappelle. I don't know if he was on Comedy Central Presents
Yeah, and a
for
half
sure,
hour, yeah.
but
Yeah, he was for like the 2000s, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
and also actually before Comedy Central Presents 2, Martin. One of my biggest.
Is Martin the sitcom or Martin Lawrence
Both
as a stand-up?
Martin Lawrence
Okay.
as a stand-up and Martin
Gotcha.
the sitcom, because
Okay.
it was like when I was growing up, it was like you're either watching Martin or Fresh Prince, or you're watching both. And I was watching both, but I'm going to Martin first. Like Martin was more my style of humor as a little kid. I don't know why, but it was like I always liked kind of more adult humor for some reason. So I kind of gravitated towards that.
I didn't know that those were two camps that were like.
I can see that. It's almost
mean-
like
Yeah, it makes
Cosby
sense.
and Pryor.
Yeah.
But what's funny
Where
is
it's, like,
it's Will
clean and
Smith
dirty.
and Martin, and
Yeah.
then they did Bad Boys together.
Yeah.
And then
So-
yeah,
that was
and
like-
I love
yeah.
both. And then
And that was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I would have been Camp Fresh Prince for sure.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I did like Fresh
yeah.
Prince. I did watch it. Did enjoy that swagger. But like, yeah, Martin was like, this shit is funny, dude.
Yeah, and he's a stand-up, whereas
Yeah,
Will Smith
Right.
is
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
more of like a musician
I grew up
actor.
before I discovered Comedy Central. I discovered Comic View on BET, and so I
Okay.
grew up watching a lot of Comic View. Fucking Bruce and Earthquake and Gary Owen. Do you know Gary Owen?
Not
Are
really.
you familiar at
Is
all?
Gary Owen?
He's the one white guy who was always
who's
on
with the Black
Comic View.
Comics. Yeah, I see a lot of him
Yeah.
actually now on.
Yeah, I
Facebook,
saw a
some
reel
clips
not
and
too long
shit.
ago. I don't know if he's having a renaissance or what, but
Yeah, Gary Owen.
so that was like my first. Well, my first introduction to comedy was Sinbad. Like that was the first comic, because it was. I grew up super Christian, and Sinbad was the only comic that my dad felt comfortable sitting down and watching with me. So
Yeah. And he doesn't. He just goes up with no
Yeah.
idea what he's going to say.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's
freestyle.
just jazz
Yeah.
improv.
I feel like not on his
I'm sure
specials,
he's
which is
still
what I
kind
was
of like
watching.
things probably come back up,
Well-
but he's
Yeah.
kind of known for being like talking about today, what happened today
Yeah.
a lot. Just like a whole hour, like he just walks up and doesn't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
pretty-
I mean, I would
yeah.
if I could do it that way. I totally
I would love to be,
because it's
like-
like you don't get bored just
Right.
being a robot saying the lines the same way.
Yeah.
That's goals right there. Yeah.
But that was my introduction to comedy. And then I remember early on, I was probably 12 or so, seeing John Leguizamo's Freak, the one man show that he did.
he's a
That
he's
was-
a hero to Puerto Ricans everywhere.
Okay, I didn't know you were.
I'm half Puerto Rican.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I love John Leguizamo. I've always.
I didn't realize he did like.
Well, he did one man shows.
Yeah.
They were
Okay.
comedy oriented,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like a straight stand up special. But
That's
I've always
cool.
kind of liked those too. Like another one that's been
Like the English version of stand up, kind of the Edinburgh,
yeah.
like the one man. The 1 hour.
Norman Rockwell is Bleeding. Christopher Titus's one man show that was hugely influential for me too. But yeah, that's that like Comic View, Sinbad, and then sneaking HBO specials when my dad would go to bed. That was how I got into it. And then Comedy Central, the heyday of Comedy Central from like 98 till 2003.
Yeah.
Like Tough Crowd. I still watch old episodes
Colin
of Tough
Quinn.
Crowd with Colin Quinn.
That Patrice O'Neill.
O'Neill,
Oh my
like,
god, dude!
I don't
Fucking
even
hilarious.
I know he's one of the goats.
Yeah.
I don't love his stand up the way that I love him on Tough Crowd.
I
and
love
doing
his
that
stand up
stuff.
so much.
The-
Like,
yeah, I'm not shitting on it. I'm
it's-
just saying like I like him in the moment
Yeah.
shitting on other
Oh, yeah.
comics. That's more fun to watch for me than
Oh, yeah.
him doing his material.
yeah.
But
Scariest guy to get roasted by ever.
Oh
I think.
man, right? You're not. It's hard to be. You can't be louder than Patrice. You can't be
Yeah.
like.
And he's not like a lot of people will roast you with love and kindness, but
No,
like
Yeah,
he was
no,
mean.
he's gonna
Destroy
shit
you,
on
like-
you. And no matter who you are, if you're his friend, if you're his fucking peer, you're his idol,
If you're
like he's
below him?
gonna
Ooh.
shit on you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're below him, he's not gonna let
that's
you
worse.
speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way he mixes crowd work into like all of his sets, you know, all
Right.
of his like albums and bootlegs. Like he just starts by just talking to everybody. He just like spends the first 5 to 10 minutes just like who's in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets just crazy things happening.
And that's good. That's what I want to do. I want to be like, I feel like maybe like learning improv would be a good,
Yeah,
kind of like you get a little information from people in the room nonchalantly. They don't notice you, and then you bring it up later, and then that's what kills people. Like
Yeah.
showing you're in the room like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of these days, I'll get there. That's why I love like my love languages joke. Like I kind of, the first time I tried to tell that one, I fucked it up and I couldn't remember all the love languages because I'm trying to like brief the crowd on like what they are, right? But I noticed that when I started to fuck it up, people in the crowd knew and they would yell it out.
Yeah.
that's
So now that's what I just do for the
Right, you
joke.
bring them in,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get there and I'm like, I bring them in. I'm like, oh, okay, it's that. Whether or not I remember, I just like bring them in on it, and like they get more invested in the joke for sure. And so that's a fun one that I kind of accidentally figured out. I should just bring the crowd into it a little bit,
yeah. I'm always trying to dabble in crowd work, but it's just how brave I'm feeling in my life in general, and how many things I want to try. But I feel like if you can just sit there and be patient and allow pauses with the crowd, like there's always something amazing at the end of that.
Yeah, you gotta be
So you have to
confident in
trust,
yourself
yeah.
too, to come up with,
Yeah.
just like I'm gonna just let it hit
Yeah.
me. And
And when you have only have 4 minutes, it's a little harder because
Yeah.
like the light comes on, you haven't got there yet. But
I've found it like, this is probably a trick everybody knows. I found it's easier, right? If I like to start off with something quick that makes people laugh, right? Because I find it like the quicker I get them laughing, the more they'll forgive me for like a long setup or like some bullshit that I'm have to like muddle through. Later, they're like, "Well, we know his capability. Let's give him, give him a second.
We trust that. There could be another punchline coming.
Yeah. But if I don't start off, get that laugh in the like very quickly, it doesn't go my way usually. But,
I'm just coming back around to that because I spent most of this year trying to, at the top of the set, just talk about the rim, what happened today. But then, sometimes you don't get there quick enough. And you lose their trust, and then it's just gone.
They're scorned.
You're just,
This is fun. Do you see that sticker on that pipe right there?
Yeah, the guy in the Speedo.
Yeah, that's my buddy Eugene, and he is not a musician or a comedian or anything.
But he was up in here.
He just had like 1,000 of those stickers printed up, and he has friends all over the Asheville community, and they have been sticking those stickers up everywhere.
That's great. Did you know that was here?
No, I just looked up like 2 minutes ago and saw it, and I'm like, God damn it, Eugene. But yeah, I see them everywhere, all over Asheville.
He's just a guy.
He's just an Asheville guy. He's just a guy. Everybody knows him. Like if I ever introduce you to him, you'll be like, oh, we have 18 mutual friends, and
sticker guy, right?
It just totally caught me off guard because there he is, my buddy Eugene, staring me right in the mouth with his Speedo. It's
what do you guys think about that as far as like, it's just trying to be a brand? I mean, that's a dirty word, but like put yourself out there. Like, what do you want with that as far as
I'm trying
face recognition,
I just want name recognition, honestly. I want to be able to make a little bit of money from doing stand up, enough to pay the bills. And that's
the Hulu
really
and
it.
the Burger King.
Yeah, the Hulu and the Burger King.
Do you want to tour like nationally or?
I mean, eventually, if I felt like I got like that good, I would want to. I definitely want to do some like tours on like on this side of the country and stuff like that, and figure out how to line that type of stuff up because I have no idea. But that's what I got you guys to ask.
Yeah, totally. I think you should be asking. Yeah, I mean, I love asking people. Don't be afraid to send out emails. Ask people if you see somebody else getting shows that you want to get. Just ask them.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a big part of what this podcast is about. Trying to crack the code on like getting what you want out of it, because people think you just like show up to the mics enough that like people will give you regional shows or whatever. It's like, no, you gotta do the videos and send out the emails, but that stuff's not that fun. So it's like, if you start doing too much of that, then it's like becomes a job.
Yeah, it's a balance for sure. And like I have like been trying to do that, grow the online presence, make the email list, make a place where people can go to be like, oh, we like this. I haven't made it. I have a website, but there's like hardly anything on it.
That just feels like the next level. Like
But it's also too. It's like, I don't know. You get people to go to the website, they'll see the email list. You got like a 1 in whatever chance of them clicking on, like being like, hey, I like this guy. I want to see when he's doing something. Again, around here, it's like you're definitely not gonna get it if you don't do it. You might get it if you do it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to I got another friend who kind of like advertises herself as a musician, so she's been like teaching me about like trying to get your brand, this is how you get your website, this is how you get where people can go to see what you're gonna do. So I'm trying to take that information and give myself a little framework.
Yeah, I have a booking mentor that like advised me to like make a website. I made one at the beginning of last year and put some videos on it, and it definitely has helped, just to have that, drop that link in, have like a website with like the videos and the shows and all
people
that.
Like, I can go see what he's about, and I can see what he's going to be doing soon,
which I never would have thought of because I don't really go to comedians' websites, but he's like, no, you need to have that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do stickers. I've been trying to get
merch?
Stickers, and merch feels generous, but
I mean that's
it's merch.
It is.
Are they paying for it? Are they paying for the stickers?
Are
you trying
maybe,
to?
I would
be
like
a pay what you want kind of thing.
If you give them away, maybe it's not merch.
But we're also some buddies of mine and I are trying to plan a tour right now for October. So we've got some dates booked. I've booked one in Athens and one in Atlanta, and then it's going to coincide with my October Crisp show here, so they'll just do that, and then we'll hop on whatever model face shows we can hop on that weekend. And so, like, we're trying to plan it. They're wanting to go from Austin across the Gulf Coast down Florida and then back up, and I'm like, oh, I got a wife and kids. I don't know if I can be gone that long, but I'm going to try and do at least the Florida leg and then back up here. But I want to have stickers before that, at least, like, to
That's an attainable goal. You can
just
just
I'm good at a lot of things, but like drawing or like designing things in that kind of world, I'm not good at all. So I've asked Miranda to do stickers for me for the second time now. We'll see if it happens this time around. Don't make that the clip. But I just want, like, my idea for stickers is just one of my index card jokes, but with my, handle at the bottom. Like, I just want a cartoon version of that as my sticker, and we'll see. Yeah,
something where people can look at the sticker and be like, oh, I can go here to see more of him for sure,
So that's my plan, is just trying to get my Instagram like, I just feel like for me, I might do one of those link trees or beacons or whatever the OnlyFans ladies are doing these days, just to have everything there. But like, I don't know if I'll ever do a website.
It's old timey. I was
do it all through my Instagram. Like, I don't want to be active on other platforms and have to worry about that. So
Instagram is definitely an easy way to go. And I think I did the website mostly for an email list. Which
I'm not knocking a website, to be clear. It's smarter than I am.
I think that's like really the only reason I did it was like so I could be like, I don't know, fucking bombard people with, hey, I'm going to be in your town.
Right. Yeah.
Type shit, because really it's like the more people that know, the better.
Right.
Even if they're like, this is fucking annoying. Like, the more people that know, the better.
And see, my thinking is, I can't even get people to go to my Instagram and hit the follow button. There's no way I'm going to get them to go to a website and click and type in their email address. Like, I'm still working on.
It's all
step
changing
one,
so fast too. It's just like the online is just because a year ago posting stand-up reels. Worked, and now it's like everyone can do their first set and have it be captioned and throw it up.
Yeah,
so it's just it's just not even.
I've been thinking about doing some stand-up reels lately, even though I listen to your podcast and you guys shit on them all the time.
But people are still doing great with them. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do them.
Here's why.
Just do it.
Because
we're just talking shit on here. None of this should be taken.
No, nobody's going to.
As career advice.
If they were taking this podcast seriously,
that's on them.
And I got to now. The reason I kind of want to now start filming my sets and stuff is because I've been doing like political jokes as they come along, but right now it's like they get burned so fast. Like, I wrote some good debate material.
Oh yeah,
and it's all useless now.
Yeah, it's like a late night joke.
It doesn't matter.
Next week,
like,
it's like
Well, the assassination attempt happened, and it's like. Well, that stuff doesn't like. What are you gonna? Why are you talking about the debate?
Yeah,
he almost
being like,
got
how about
murdered.
these masks we got to wear or something now? It's
so.
Carlin always said he didn't want any of his material to be about the time because he wanted it to be like time capsule.
Yeah,
where it would be relatable,
timeless. Everyone can relate at all times.
And that's why, I'm thinking if I'm gonna burn something online, make it the stuff that's gonna get burned next week, anyways. The political stuff, because I do like now I got to come up with some Kamala Harris material, and because I feel like the assassination attempt stuff is outdated because a bigger thing happened since then. So
I mean, also too, there's something to be said for just try it anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still kind of fresh. There was that whole the submarine thing.
Yeah,
right. I was doing jokes about the submarine thing. And people got it.
It was fucking hilarious.
It was good stuff. Yeah,
I still think that's.
But there was
but
there was another attempt to go back, which brought it back around.
So I was
great.
also writing something about that. Like this guy, he's attempting to go back. They still have to build the submarine, which looks like a giant fucking stapler. But Yeah, I saw like a picture of it, of the concept or whatever. But yeah. So I kind of brought that up. But I did kind of after a while, after like I didn't say the joke, and in what I felt like was time, because I wanted to do it for the 1 year anniversary of the thing, which was June 18th of the submarine thing. And so I kind of just dropped it. I was like, fuck it. Maybe next year, around the 2 year anniversary.
2 years ago today, this week.
Y'all remember?
I mean, to me, that kind of is a timeless thing, because it's like the Titanic is a timeless, and just the idea of your wealth, having the means to do something,
right?
Too much money. There's something there that I feel like is that it's almost, it is like a timeless, like being destroyed by your own greed.
Yeah, just racking up the Titanic's post-mortem body count, like
there's that. It's a meme, but it's like a graph, and it's like Titanic deaths over a timeline, and it's like there's a huge spike in 1914 and then, or 1912, whatever it was, and then there's a little tiny spike in 2020.
Giant gap.
Five of them.
That's my favorite kind of like silly humor, is visual humor, like just a chart, just a graph that you can make a joke with. Yeah,
because sometimes the joke is like, late night, like this is the news this week, but sometimes it's like, hey, some of you youngsters don't know, but 20 years ago this submarine tried to go back down. You can almost bring it back up, and it's like right underneath us, isn't it?
It sounds like there's a pipe.
It sounds like there's no floor.
Has anyone, a little gap there.
Has anyone ever paused the show to go pee? Is that a thing that people do?
You could just hop in and pee. Yeah, it's no problem.
Take the mic with me?
There.
You want me to take it?
I don't think it'll go that far. But
I'm gonna have to go do that after him, probably.
Yeah, there's a bathroom up here.
All right, so now that he's gone,
fucking Clay,
fucking Clay, the waste. Have you been watching The Boys?
Mm-mm.
Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about what's happening ever. What is it?
Dude, it's mirroring like the campaign right now. It's like it's literally
the show.
Yeah,
the show?
It's literally like I feel like Trump's team is watching The Boys, and they're like, let's do that. Like let's do that.
Is it a show about politics?
It's a show about superheroes. And what their like role would be in real life. It's based off a comic book, and like how you would actually really handle superheroes. Like they're basically like they have PR teams. Mm-hmm. They're up in industry and kind of in government. You know what I'm saying? Because we rely on them to like fight wars and do things and shit like that. So it's like, what would the superheroes be like at that point? And they're like regular ass celebrities, kind of. Some of them are jaded and they don't give a fuck about anybody. Mm-hmm. And it's just it's really, you should see that show. It's very good.
Yeah. So what is it like? What was an example of like a Trump like thing that's?
Oh man. Okay. Let me see how I can do this without giving spoilers. Okay.
Oh, you can give spoilers.
I don't give a fuck. Okay. Well, there's like basically, there's like in this season, which is the latest season, there's a mastermind plot ruse to basically for these soups to take over an office. And
Campbell
soups as a superhero.
I heard what
you got me. To take over an office, so they're like staging some things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even when this season or this last episode came out, it starts and it says like, just so you know, none of this is based off real life. Any similarities are just purely coincidence.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like conspiracy theory type things.
Okay,
you know, but it's really good. And like I said, I'm gonna let you just watch it, and you're gonna be like, holy shit, like what the fuck. What about you? Have you seen The Boys?
Remember earlier we were talking about like sci-fi, like
sci-fi.
There's fantasy, and then even lower than that for me is superhero.
What is
stuff.
the top for you? I'm just curious. History, like biographies,
documentaries.
Yeah,
I do. I watch a good bit of documentaries. I just love your good old fashioned '90s action movie.
Okay.
Like,
Van Damme
anything
movie.
that
Face Off.
No, hang on.
No?
Hang on.
He's
The Rock.
Whoa. No, my all-time favorite action movie, not counting The Matrix, but I feel like that transcends the action genre, and it was the tail end of the 90s. My favorite 90s action movie is Executive Decision.
I've never even fucking heard of that.
It's so good. It's so good. It's
who's
Kurt
in it?
Russell, John Leguizamo, B.D. Wong, Oliver Platt, Halle Berry, Steven Seagal for like 17 minutes.
So that's
it's,
enough.
It's stacked.
Yeah. Stacked.
J.T. Walsh is a great movie.
I've never heard
But
of
also
that
like
shit.
Broken Arrow, Speed.
Speed.
Love
Face Off?
Speed.
That's
Face
probably
Off.
my favorite.
Face Off is bad but fun.
Yeah, Con
And
Air,
Rock,
Face Off.
Yeah, Con Air.
I like
Rock,
the Nicolas Cage
The
ones.
Rock.
Yeah,
The Rock is.
It's
Rock
that
is
all
the
falls
shit.
into the bad but good
Yeah.
category. Whereas Executive Decision is just a good movie.
Okay.
Broken Arrow is like bordering on bad but good.
Yeah.
Speed is just good. It's good. Like if you
Speed is great. Speed's a good movie.
That was in the beginning of the Keanu Reeves like whoa joke era. Like
Whoa.
that was the beginning of it.
No,
But-
Bill and Ted was the beginning.
Yeah, but Bill and Ted was not meant to be taken seriously. Whereas after Bill and Ted, he started trying to do movies where people would maybe take him seriously.
Point
I do
Break.
feel like
People were laughing.
Point Break.
it typecast him for sure.
Yeah, Point
One of the
Break for
greatest
sure.
movies of all
Yeah,
time.
Point Break.
But if you
I
take
believe
the
it.
Keanu Reeves aspect out of Speed and just watch Speed and how it's edited, how it's shot, it's a solid movie. Like it's good. Plot wise, not so much, but yeah, I love the '90s action genre. Bad Boys 1 and 2. 2 was 2003, but
That's
still
That's
it's still
fine.
in
That's
there.
okay. That's still in the
Yeah, the third one was
essence.
not as good.
Did you see the newest?
I just downloaded it today. I haven't watched it yet. I'm
so-
probably going to watch it tonight. But the same guys who directed the third one directed this one, and that does not give me a warm and fuzzy feeling because they were,
It's Bad Boys, right? I
Yeah.
like that Bad Boys,
yeah,
but
it's not going to be good.
yeah, they're a little old. They're a little old
Yeah.
to be running around trying to do the things that
Right.
they was doing. I like. It seems like they set it up for like some new people to take over.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a travesty. Just let it die.
Yeah, the nostalgia reboots. It's always a little.
I just found out they're rebooting. Jordan
Sad.
Peele is producing a reboot of The People Under the Stairs.
You know,
I'll watch it.
I'm personally, I think after a certain amount of time has passed, if you haven't heard anything about something, yes, maybe I would like to see a new, fresh take on it. You know, some things, I don't know. Some things like I won't accept it for, but some things I'm like, I would like to see.
Have you seen People Under the Stairs?
Yes.
Is that- okay. All right. That's
Horror, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that
You're not
one.
a big
Kind of
horror guy, right?
horror-ish.
No, I mean when it's good, yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
it's action horror for sure, but it's Wes Craven, but it feels like the first mainstream black horror movie, at least of
No.
the '90s for sure. Maybe there was
Yeah.
some that I'm not thinking about in the '80s, but like
Tales.
it was a black
well,
story told by Wes Craven, which is I don't know that he.
You're like, well,
I don't know that he had any business, but he was trying at least. So,
Right.
but it's a great movie. Ving Rhames.
When did Tales from the Hood come out?
Oh, 95, I want to say.
Okay.
I think
right.
95.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, People Under the Stairs was like 92. I
Okay,
think,
yeah,
at the
yeah.
latest. Maybe 91. But yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, and I like Jordan
Jordan Peele.
I
That's
like-
what I'm saying.
yeah, I like what he's
sounds
doing.
Like, I don't like the idea of remaking People Under the Stairs, but if somebody's going to tell that story, I'm okay with Jordan Peele doing it.
Yeah.
as opposed to Wes Craven's white ass. You know,
Like, yeah, I like Jordan Peele. I like his movies a lot.
I still haven't seen any of them, and it hasn't been a conscious thing. It's just been like, well, okay, Get Out. It was a conscious thing.
Yeah.
It was like I heard about it, and I'm like, I don't know that I want.
You should watch
I don't
it.
know
You'll
that I will
understand
enjoy
us
that.
more.
I feel like it will be painful. You know.
It was good. It's entertaining.
Yeah, and then the other one, Nope. Is it Nope? Is that the most
Yeah,
recent one where
Nope.
it's aliens? Yeah, I don't. M. Night Shyamalan ruined me for alien horror movies. I'm just.
Oh, you didn't like Signs?
Jesus.
I didn't like
Signs. Was maybe the
I didn't
only.
like Signs. It was bad.
Signs and Sixth Sense was like maybe the only
Sixth Sense was
Shyamalan
great.
movies where I was
Crazy
like,
how he
The
peaked
first one was
early.
great.
That's why it's like.
and then I didn't understand the hype after. I'm like, this nigga did Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
Like nothing that I cared about at all. And then Signs. Ooh, that
Yeah.
was really fucking
You
good.
see the one with Mark Wahlberg where the trees are killing people?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whack.
So
I don't
weird.
think my dad would let me see it at that time because it was
Not
global
the
warming
trees.
nonsense.
Oh, right.
Global
Yeah.
warming
It was global. It was Al Gore propaganda.
liberal nonsense.
Yeah, no, I would have been 22 when that movie came out, so it wasn't a dad not letting me thing.
That's why I think if you're too awesome at comedy too soon, it's like peaking early can be kind of risky. It's like M. Night Shyamalan. It's like, how do you follow yourself? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because The Sixth Sense was his first movie. Is that?
Is it? Was it?
Was it?
He,
Or maybe
probably
he
so
had written
small.
a couple. He wrote
Yeah.
Stuart
Yeah.
Little,
Okay.
famously, or maybe not
But
famously.
to have your biggest hit be
But
like
the
the
Sixth
first,
Sense was
I mean,
the
that's
first
got to
one.
just
He's
be
just
then the whole rest of your career. You're just
I
trying to
started
follow
a trend.
yourself.
I
and
broke the seal.
failing.
I don't know
Yeah.
how that works, but yeah, Sixth Sense was great though. Like that was any to this day, 25 years later, anyone who tells me that they saw the ending coming, bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. I'll never believe anything else you say to me ever again because I don't believe you. So
That was back when an ending like that could still fool us too.
Yeah,
Like
well, it
before
was-
this. It's like Fight Club was kind of like that
yeah,
too. It's like
yeah, for sure. It wasn't pre-internet, but it was
pre like
everything
internet in your
being the
pocket.
internet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
like
was-
just,
yeah.
just information, just
right. Yeah,
every pattern.
miss those days.
Yeah,
What's funny is like with politics and everything, the "Make America Great Again" crowd. It's like, well, what era do you want?
Yeah, when
What
was it?
era was great?
yeah,
And like a lot of them, it feels like it's the 50s. You
Yeah.
know, for me, it's the 90s,
Yeah.
late 90s,
Oh,
early
yeah.
2000s. Like
yeah.
that's when
right before the internet ruined
America
our
was
lives.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they say it's like Saturday Night Live, like whatever the era that you think is the best is when you were in high school.
Yeah.
So it's like you always think that because it's
I
really
turned
just
15 in 1999.
you get older,
so
your
that
life
was-
gets complicated, and then you're like, that was
Yeah.
the world was good. It's like, no, you just remember
Right.
when you didn't have the.
And to be clear, we've made a lot of progress since 1999. I don't actually want to go back
And things
to
have
that.
gotten
I
worse.
would want to go back,
It's
but I
always
wouldn't want
both,
to take the
right?
whole world
Things have gotten
back.
better. Things have got, like how much. How do you try to handle like your kids' screen time? Like, do you try to like time like
We have the screen time
That-
app or the screen time limits and everything, but then
Like-
it's like today. Well, today, like I said, my wife had wisdom teeth removed.
Yeah, so they're gonna
and
be-
So they've been on it all day,
Yeah.
and like. My daughter came out and she's like, "Hey, can you enter the passcode so I can have another, or so I can do this app?" And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And so I do it, and I do it for an hour, and then an hour later she comes back, and I'm just like, "Oh, whatever," like So
Yeah.
we try, and with my son, it's a lot more important because it affects him negatively.
Yeah.
Like when he spends too much time on the screens, and then you try to get him off of it.
yeah, it's like
He's
crack
a
withdrawal.
monster.
Yeah.
How old is your son?
He's 7. She's 9, but she's like, I make the joke. Probably never mind. I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, I don't want to talk shit about my kids on the
Yeah,
podcast.
it's tricky because it's going on.
I don't
the
mind.
internet, so
I don't mind talking
do
shit
it.
about
Don't
them
do
on
it.
stage.
I don't want to edit it.
On stage, I'll talk shit about them all the time because
Yeah.
that's not.
It just
Yeah,
say it and it's
but-
gone. And
Yeah,
this is
but this
gonna
is different.
be
So,
recorded for
but
all
no,
of eternity.
he's the best when he's the best, and then he can be a terror sometimes. And yeah, so we got to really watch it with him. She is 9, going on 14. We hope, because if this isn't the beginning of like the whole
puberty.
prepubescent stuff, like
They
then
say
we're
that
in
it hits them
trouble
sooner
in
now,
4
'cause-
years. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid.
They say
of.
that they go through it sooner now.
Yeah, that's what we're
Media
hoping.
will somehow accelerate it.
Because it feels like puberty
I
that we're
believe
dealing
it.
with.
Yeah.
It feels like puberty is also the name of my autobiography. That's all right. What are we doing here? Welcome back.
I think we're good. We're at an hour and a half. We should
Okay.
probably go. It's like almost be 8:30 by the time we get down there.
Cool. Can I gripe about the people you've had on the podcast
course,
before me
yeah,
now?
say what- talk some
Fucking
shit.
Kayla Clark, are you kidding me? I've been here 3 years. She's been doing comedy 7 minutes. You have her on the podcast before me?
Oh boy.
Fucking Ben Gibson? Get out of here. That guy doesn't even live here anymore.
It's
I'm just, yeah.
It's not in an order of
feels like it.
Does it?
No.
Jesus.
I was trying. No, I was thinking about that the other day because I was like, what's the formula? Like, I want to because I've listened to a lot more of them than you probably think. Like, not all of them. But,
I love it.
But I've tried to figure out okay, so he had Mario and Ryan Gordon on together.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. They were kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But then there's Sarah Love and Ben Atkins.
Yeah.
They're not that's never what.
Yeah.
And then also it was me and Jordan.
I don't know. I was like, wasn't sure if you guys have talked much before or not.
Not
I was
much.
just
Not much.
Sometimes it's like don't go with the pattern. It's like when I make music, it's like
Okay.
I want some element of randomness.
Right. Yeah.
Like if I plan everything too much, it's less good than planning some of it and then having randomness injected as well.
But then there's another tier of confusion for me, which is where are they going to be?
Oh, yeah.
Where are you going to have? Are you going to have I
That's
would have
complicated.
thought I was library material at best.
The location does not have any correlation. That's just all
it has some.
all
You
I
weren't,
got
you
this
weren't going to
now.
let Leah Garth in your living or in your kitchen, and you know it. We all know it.
oh,
it has
man.
some correlation.
That's
all. I was
This makes
saying.
me want to quit the podcast.
Wait, Cody Hughes 3 times? 3 times, Cody Hughes? 4 if you count the root bar?
I'm just glad that
Cody Hughes deserves all the
Yeah.
podcast time.
I'm just glad that episode you had with Cody and Petey.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Such a good
comics,
episode.
and you're like, if we mention your name, that's a good thing,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so you guys mentioned a bunch of comments.
That's why I didn't want to mention
Petey
Blackburn.
goes, Petey goes, I thought Julius, and I assumed he was talking about me, but as soon as he said I thought Julius, somebody else started speaking, and y'all
He
just
just
blew right
left.
past
Oh,
that.
never
But
got
I was
there.
like, Mama, I made it. He said my name in the motherfucking podcast. That was all I needed. I was like, hell yeah, he thought of me. Somebody thought of me.
It's best to
Shit.
think of it as loose and random. I wanted to do them all in my house, but now
Your
that I'm
wife
trying to
is
do
like,
twice
"No,
a week, it's
do
in the
not."
middle of the
Yeah.
house. The last one I did with Jess, my family got home and they were on the porch waiting to come inside for a while, and then when they came in, it was all right, we're gonna start doing the library at least till school starts up again.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it's just it's not really that planned, or I'll be just talking with somebody. I'll be like, you want to tomorrow I have time, but then with you guys, I was I want to get you on. I don't know. Fucking random.
I'm happy with it.
I hope I've given you a complex about this because it holds zero weight for me.
It is
but
to
if
the
it gives
point
you a
where
complex,
now
that's
I'm
fun.
there's only some people that I haven't got on, and I'm I just feel guilty that it's the reason I hate hosting this mic is because you look around at all your friends' eyes, and it's
Yeah.
not all of you are getting a good spot. Right? I don't. Some people like being gatekeepers and having the power. I fucking hate it. I just want to
Drop
chill,
some names.
have
Who-
conversations.
Who likes
Oh,
being
no.
gatekeepers?
Oh, yeah.
here's
You
the
just
part.
wanted to fuck his whole
People start searching their names and find it in this section.
Yeah, I mean,
gatekeeping.
I just want, because I know what it is to be. I mean, we all know, being
Yeah.
not included on shows is so much a part of this,
Mhm.
and that's what drives most people to quit is because they're oh, I'm not on this show, and I know how much that hurts. So it's now that I've got a thing, I'm I want everybody to be happy, but at the same time, it's God damn it, I gotta get all these fucking lunatics on here.
Well,
Yeah.
I've spent. So I don't know, how far into comedy you were when I started coming back around to this mic, because there was a long time where I wasn't coming to this mic because
Yeah.
I was getting weekend stage time.
That's a
and I was
lot of it too.
I'm
Is
not
who
gonna-
am I seeing? If I go to Root
Yeah.
Bar with you and we just start talking every week, it's oh, this makes sense to just
Yeah.
throw some mics
You're
up and
in my
record
head.
it. And
Right.
then there's some people where I'm oh, I haven't seen you in a while, but I definitely want to talk to you. So it's
Yeah.
yeah.
But for me, it's been a conscious effort to get back out because
yeah,
I've been pigeonholed into one
yeah.
faction
Yeah.
here in Asheville,
Yeah.
and I don't want that.
I don't want that
also.
either for you or for me.
But at the same time, there's no way she's still listening at this point if she tuned in. But I'm also trying to, because she doesn't come out to the mics, so I'm trying to bring in the new people that I see doing well at the mics, because so I had Jason Reel come out and do a bit with me where he did the Trump impression for the jokes that I had written and was doing my terrible Trump impression. I had him come out and just read my lines to that joke.
Cross-pollinate
but now Jason's in that atmosphere, and he got booked on another show, and so that's why I wanted Jordan to come out and do Crisp, and and I'm booking Crisp pretty much exclusively. There might be times in the future where there's a headliner that's going to be in town, and she's like, "This is who's on that show" or whatever. But for the most part, the next couple months, I've booked the headliners for them, and I've booked the whole show.
Yeah, I mean, there's people I want to have on this.
I'm trying to bring more new people in.
Yeah, to cross. The way I'm going to keep doing these probably if I don't get worn out by but
by people questioning your motives and methods.
Jason Webb is an example of somebody that I really want to have on but hasn't been on yet. So it's you're not trying to do the classic thing where you do I start with the best and then it you want to keep it there's a lot of musicians I want to get on too. So I mean the way I look at it, if I can keep doing it long enough, everyone can be on my show. Even if you're the person that everybody hates, you can be on, because I think that's interesting. Let's give that person a fucking chance to tell their origin story. Is he really disliked that much?
No, I don't. I don't even dislike him. It's just we just have a beef, and so
that's all right.
It's. I think you and I have talked about this too. It's I want to encourage the comics in this scene to have thicker skin.
Yeah,
because if somebody this scene isn't roasty enough.
I was gonna say I would love to see some roasts
it
around
needs to
here.
be,
I'd love to
and roast should maybe be booked by more than one booker too. So there's more of a chance because the roast is
and I know PD's working on a roast. It's not like a roast of a person. It's like a conceptual roast.
Yeah.
But the end of November for my 40th birthday, I'm doing a roast of me. Yeah. And I've already asked a bunch of people, and so I this scene needs more of that, because the comics need thicker skin. And so if somebody makes a mild-mannered roast of you and you lose your shit, I'm going to lean in a little bit. I'm not going to be a straight-up bully, but...
That's cool. You're turning 40, man.
Yeah. Is that cool?
Some more oldies, yeah. I just turned 45 last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were 43. I knew you were a couple years older, but... Yeah, I'm in. I didn't start till I was 35. So.
I'm tired of being questioned about my podcast guest choices.
I wasn't questioning you. I was straight up condemning you.
No, I mean, I love that you listen to it and you're interested.
No, I love it. Now,
this is a show anyone can be on, though. Even if everyone hates you, you can eventually be on this podcast.
The Triple Ryan episode, I'll never bother with that one because it's not a video.
Yeah. Okay.
You told me that.
Yeah, I really fucked that one up.
It sucks. I hate it for you.
Yeah.
But I probably won't ever get around to that one, because
I've cranked out 45 episodes in under 6 months. So the way I do it is you just you make some mistakes. Yeah. Mostly it's turned out pretty good, but it does hurt.
You just let them go and you're
mistake. I unplugged that camera before I powered it off, and it deleted all the video, so it's audio. And I'm still just I feel it because I wanted those guys. But it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People get you try to do a thing, but then people it helps, but then it also we're all we have thick skin, but we're also all super sensitive artists.
Yeah.
So people get their feelings hurt a lot too.
Right.
Yeah. Including me.
And then try and call you out on your podcast.
Yeah. All of our significant others know that we're have you not done a lot of bitching to your significant others about not getting on shows and stuff? Come on.
I actually haven't.
Really? Okay. Hell yeah. You're a good person.
But I mean, I feel like I'm I don't expect myself to be doing, you know what I'm saying? I'm little toe in the water. I don't
You don't feel entitled to have.
Yeah, maybe after a couple years I'll be like, what the, what's going on? But right now it's I don't know. I don't have any precedent. I don't know what to compare to. So.
That's cool. Hold on to that perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely the way to
try to keep it fresh.
I think it's hard for me to reason with the fact that comedy is both a seniority system and a meritocracy.
Yeah.
If it was one or the other, I could wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
But it's a mixture of, well, this person deserves it, and also this person's been around forever. And so now that I've been here for 3 years, I'm like, well, well, can I get some of that seniority? But at the same time, I'm never going to be like, well, I feel like I have some of that meritocracy. Like I don't have that. Do you know what I mean? I don't have.
Yeah, I think entitlement's what I call it. It's like you just got to be careful of it.
Right.
I'm guilty
For
of
sure.
it. I'm guilty of being like, oh, that person doesn't fucking book me anymore. And like that.
Yeah.
So that voice is like poison.
I don't have
but
that.
it's up there sometimes.
I don't like, and we've discussed why I don't have that is because I do feel like I've cordoned myself off on this little island that is separate from the other Asheville comedy islands.
Yeah.
And so now it's like I'm trying to work to do that. And, I got that silly in character show booked. So
it's working, man.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, no, it's for me, it's not an ego thing as much as it is like I just wanna, I'm not going to get upset if I don't, but I just want to work towards that and just get to the point where, I'm noticed, and then I'll, move on to the next thing that I'm trying to work at. Everybody notices me when I walk in the
Once you
room.
turn 40, everybody's
Walk
supposed to
by.
start booking you. It's great.
That's it. Like, okay.
I'm booking my own roast. I don't believe that for a second.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah,
thanks
thanks for
having
having
us.
us.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. After Kayla Clark.
She's a mega online sensation.
Yeah.
By the way, she was on the cover of the Mountain Express.
I know. I got one. I got an issue, and
She
I
has
read
a
it.
bigger audience than any of us.
So-
I'm still recording just because I had to be like,
No, that's fine. And
now
while
we're back
you're
in. Now we're going
recording,
to start talking about action movies again. We're never going to do sets. We're never doing
while
sets.
you're recording, I told Kayla Clark that I was going to do this bit on
Yeah.
the podcast, so she knows.
And she's
I'm not
aware of
just-
it too.
He's
But
like, I'm ready.
I
Yeah.
actually didn't even really know her. I was supposed to be. Helen was the one that suggested that. But now
Okay.
I would love to do another one with her. 'Cause
Just
she's-
Kayla.
I mean, she's fucking. She's crushing.
She's
it.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she
is,
yeah,
yeah.
she is.
I mean,
I was walking.
It doesn't have to be just stand up. It's
Right.
like music.
Yeah,
whatever.
and that's so.
I want to get on like fucking scientists and senators and shit eventually.
Yeah. I was walking to
Probably not
this
gonna-
mic a couple of weeks ago with Ryan and Kayla together, and as we walked past them, somebody said, "Oh, so it was Instagram," and I was like, "Oh, Ryan, they just said they follow you on Instagram." And then we walked a little bit further, and someone outside the vault was like, "Oh my God, I love your content!" And she's like, "Thanks." And I'm like, "Oh, Ryan, I was like, Ryan, I don't think they were talking about you. I think they were talking about her." And he's like, "Yeah, probably."
Yeah.
Like it was because I know Ryan had that following at first, but then
He still does, but I think she has. I wonder.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
but then
like,
like
the power
three people
couple.
outside the vault were like, "No, we like her," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Ryan, bad news,
Oh,
buddy.
no.
Bad news." So. Yeah, no, I have no beef with Kayla. That was a joke.
Let that
that was
be
a joke
known.
that I
Let the
cleared
record
with
show.
her before I came on the podcast and did it. I can't even maintain that illusion.
I plugged you. I got interviewed by someone from the Mountain Express, and I was
What?
like, I'm going to be on, Ryan Cox's podcast,
Appreciate it.
Home
Okay.
Planet. So I was like, just trying to keep.
Was
our
that for
local
best
people up.
medicine or?
I don't know. I don't really know what it was, but I think they were just like interviewing like local artists. They saw my set at the Beer Garden for Slice
Okay.
of Life, the last one, and so like they were like comedians on the list.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Hell
It's a
yeah.
much more positive place to end right there.
yeah. There we go. On some.
I've been in the Mountain
Cut it
Express
off.
too once.